The gavel cracked like a gunshot in the stale air of the family courtroom. But it was the judge's voice that shattered Billy's world. Emancipation granted. You're on your own, son. 16 years old. Backpack slung over one shoulder. Billy Harlan stepped into the muggy Atlanta summer, the screen door of his childhood home slamming behind him like a coffin lid. His stepmother's scream echoed in his ears. Get out, you filthy queer. You're no son of mine. As he stumbled down the cracked driveway, tears blurring the taillights of the cab that would carry him to nowhere. Billy had known the truth about himself for years, buried it like a live wire under the floorboards of his stepfather's sprawling Georgia ranch house. His real mom had died in a car wreck when he was 8, leaving him with Earl Harlan, a burly ex-Marine who drowned his grief in Bud Light and blind loyalty to his new wife, Lorraine. She was all sharp cheekbones and sharper tongue, a former beauty queen turned real estate shark, with a Bible quote for every sin she sniffed out. Billy's first crush on the quarterback at school had been a whisper, a stolen glance in the locker room showers. But Lorraine caught him with that dog-eared copy of Giovanni's Room, hidden under his mattress, and the house of cards came tumbling down. You're disgusting, she'd hissed that final night, her manicured nails digging into his arm as she dragged him toward the door. Earl stood mute in the hallway, eyes downcast, a ghost in his own home. Pack your shit and go. We don't harbor abominations here, Billy had begged, then raged, but the locks clicked shut anyway. The streets of Atlanta swallowed him whole, hostels that reeked of bleach and regret, odd jobs flipping burgers at Waffle House, nights curled up in bus stations with his hoodie as a pillow. He learned fast. Trust no one. Love nothing that could be taken away. By 18, Billy had scraped his way north, chasing whispers of a better life in the city that never sleeps. New York hit him like a fever dream, Times Square's neon blaze blinding him on his first subway ride uptown. He crashed on a cousin's ratty couch in Harlem, waitress tables at a dive bar in the village where drag queens taught him how to flirt for tips. That's where he met Marcus, on a rainy Tuesday in the fall of '09. Billy was wiping down the scarred oak bar, his apron stained with spilled IPA, when the door swung open and in walked a storm, tall, broad-shouldered, with skin like polished mahogany and eyes that held the weight of unspoken wars. Marcus Reyes was 32, a photographer fresh off a stint embedding with troops in Iraq, his camera bag slung like armor. He ordered a whiskey neat, voice low and gravelly, scanning the room like he was framing a shot. Billy felt it immediately, that pull, magnetic and terrifying, like gravity had shifted under his feet. Rough night? Marcus asked, nodding at the fresh bruise blooming on Billy's knuckles from a grabby customer. Billy shrugged, forcing a grin. Just another love tap from the universe. What about you? You look like you've seen ghosts. They talked until closing, Marcus sharing prints from his bag. Gritty black and whites of sand-swept patrols, soldiers' faces etched with quiet heroism. Billy confessed fragments. The stepmom, the streets, the ache of being invisible. Marcus listened without pity, his hand brushing Billy's as he passed a photo. You're a survivor, kid. That's rarer than you think. When the bar emptied, Marcus walked him home through the drizzle, their shoulders bumping in the narrow alleys. At Billy's stoop, under the flicker of a street lamp, Marcus cupped his chin gently. This city's full of wolves. But maybe, just maybe, you found a shepherd. Their first kiss was tentative, tasting of whiskey and rain, Billy's heart hammering like it might burst. Marcus pulled back, searching his face. You sure about this? I'm not some white knight. Got my own scars. Billy nodded. Fierce. Scars match. We're even. That night, in Marcus's tiny walk-up off Washington Square, they mapped each other with hands and whispers, Billy's body awakening to a tenderness he'd only dreamed of. It wasn't fireworks. It was a hearth, warm and steady, chasing the chill from his bones. But love in the city was a grindstone. Marcus's freelance gigs dried up post-recession. Galleries ghosting him, editors cutting budgets. Billy juggled 2 jobs, community college by day, dreaming of graphic design classes he couldn't afford. They fought over rent, over Marcus's late nights chasing the perfect shot, over Billy's jealousy when a cute barback lingered too long. Yet mornings after, they'd wake tangled in sheets, Marcus tracing the faded scars on Billy's back from a street brawl, murmuring, "You're my anchor, B. Don't ever forget." By 22, Billy had clawed his way into an internship at a midtown ad agency, his sketches of urban grit catching an art director's eye. Marcus landed a gig shooting for a indie mag, their loft in Brooklyn becoming a canvas of pinned photos and half-finished logos. Life felt like it might bend toward hope. Then came the call from Atlanta, Earl's voice crackling over the line. "Lorraine's sick, boy. Cancer. Come home." Billy froze, receiver slick in his palm. Home? The word tasted like ash. He went anyway, Marcus at his side like a shield. The ranch house loomed unchanged, magnolias drooping in the heat. Lorraine lay frail in the master bed, chemo-ravaged, but her eyes sharpened at Billy's entrance. "You," she rasped, venom undimmed. "Brought your friend." Marcus stiffened, but Billy stepped forward, voice steady. "He's my partner, Lorraine. And yeah, I'm here. For Dad." Earl hovered, wringing his hands. The man Billy once idolized, now a husk. They buried the hatchet in fits and starts. Awkward dinners, Billy sharing Polaroids of New York, Lorraine's barbs softening to size. She rallied, then crashed. On her last night, as monitors beeped in the hospice, she gripped Billy's hand. "I was wrong," she whispered, tears carving tracks in her powdered cheeks. "Fear. It eats you alive. Forgive me?" Billy's throat closed. "I do. Rest now." She slipped away at dawn, and in the graveyard fog, Billy broke, sobbing into Marcus's chest, the boy who'd been cast out finally laying ghosts to rest. Back in Brooklyn, success crept in like dawn. Billy's designs went viral, a campaign for a queer youth hotline, raw and unflinching, earning him a TEDx slot. Marcus's exhibit on war's aftermath sold out at MoMA PS1. They bought rings on a whim in the village, simple silver bands etched with anchor and storm, but shadows lingered. Billy's rising star drew eyes, agents, collaborators, a slick producer named Theo who lingered too close at industry mixers, all smiles and innuendo. One night, after a launch party flush with champagne, Billy stumbled home late, Marcus waiting with crossed arms. "Who was that on the phone?" Sounded cozy. Billy laughed it off, but the seed of doubt took root. Marcus, haunted by his own past, an ex who'd bailed during his deployment, started pulling away, burying himself in darkroom solitude. "We're good, right?" Billy pressed one evening, over takeout lo mein. Marcus's eyes flickered. "Always be. Just. The world's heavy sometimes." The fracture came subtle, like a hairline crack in fine china. Billy's career skyrocketed. His firm tapped him for a national ad blitz promoting LGBTQ plus rights, billboards of diverse couples beaming from LA to NYC. Paparazzi flashes followed him to coffee runs, whispers of the next big thing in creative direction. Marcus, meanwhile, hit a wall. His agent dropped him after a series of too bleak submissions, leaving him pacing their loft like a caged panther. "Art's starving me out," he'd mutter, nursing a beer at midnight. Billy tried bridging the gap, funding Marcus's next project from his bonus, dragging him to rooftop soirees where influencers cooed over his prints. But envy festered. At a gallery opening in Chelsea, Theo sidled up again, all cologne and charisma. "Billy, darling, your vision's electric. Ditch the dead weight. Let's collab on something explosive." Billy waved him off, but the words stuck, a thorn under his skin. That night, Marcus overheard a voicemail. Theo's laugh, Billy's playful retort. Trust, fragile as it was, splintered. Accusations flew over breakfast the next morning, cereal bowls clattering. "You're ashamed of me, aren't you?" Marcus snarled, face twisted. The broke vet dragging down the golden boy. Billy reeled, stung. "That's not God, Marcus," is Theo sniffing around work stuff. "You're my everything," but damage bloomed. Marcus stormed out, camera in tow, vanishing into the city's underbelly for days. Billy paced, phone silent, memories of Atlanta's abandonment crashing back, the slam of that door, the echo of rejection. When Marcus returned, reeking of bourbon and regret, they collided in a frenzy of need and fury. Sheets twisted, bodies bruised. It was make-up sex laced with desperation. "I can't lose you," Billy gasped, nails raking Marcus's back. "Then fight for us," Marcus growled, holding him fierce. They vowed therapy, date nights, anything to mend. For a while, it held couples counseling in a sunlit office, Marcus opening up about PTSD nightmares, Billy admitting his terror of abandonment. But betrayal brewed elsewhere. Billy's firm landed a whale, a conservative-leaning conglomerate wanting inclusive rebranding without ruffling feathers. The execs pulled Billy aside. "Tone it down, Harlan. No overt gay stuff, keep it subtle." He swallowed pride, tweaking campaigns to coded winks, hating the compromise. Marcus found out via a leaked email, exploding in their kitchen. "You're selling out. For what? A corner office? We fought to be seen, not hidden." The fight escalated, words like shrapnel. Marcus hurled Billy's sketchbook across the room, pages fluttering like wounded birds. "You're becoming her, Lorraine. All polish and poison." Billy's vision tunneled, rage boiling over. He grabbed Marcus's collar, shoving him against the fridge. "And you're the ghost haunting me. Get out if you can't stand the man I'm becoming." Silence fell, thick as fog. Marcus's eyes, those storm-deep eyes, filled with hurt. He packed a duffel that night, leaving a note, "Need space to breathe. Love you still." Billy drowned in the void. Work blurred into numbness. Meetings, mock-ups, empty applause. He texted Theo on impulse, meeting for drinks to brainstorm. One turned to three, Theo's hand on his thigh under the bar, Billy pulling away but not far enough. It was a lapse, a stolen kiss in the cab home, tasting of betrayal's sour edge. Guilt gnawed him raw. He confessed in a voicemail Marcus never answered. Weeks stretched to a month, the loft echoing with ghosts. Then, the call that upended everything, his agent, breathless, Billy, you're up for the Clio Award Best Social Impact Campaign. Galas in 2 weeks. MoMA. This is it. Kid. Elation warred with ache. He wanted Marcus there, his anchor in the storm. Desperate, Billy flew south, landing in Atlanta under steel-gray skies. Earl greeted him at the airport, older, grayer, but with a bear hug that cracked Billy's armor. Missed you, son. Place ain't the same. The ranch felt smaller, memories pressing like damp air. Earl poured bourbon on the porch swing, creaking confessions. Lorraine. She regretted it all. End to the bitter. Wrote you letters, burned them instead. Said you were the best of us. Billy's throat tightened. Why'd she do it? Dad? The hate. Earl sighed, staring at fireflies. Her own daddy disowned her for running off young. Cycle, I guess. Broke her more than she let on. They talked till stars wheeled overhead. Billy unearthing forgiveness in the quiet. Back in New York, Billy threw himself into prep. Tailored tucks from Bergdorf's, speech polished to a blade. Invites went out, friends, colleagues, even a tentative one to Marcus's last known address, a Soho crash pad. No reply. The night of the gala arrived crisp and electric, Manhattan humming with possibility. Billy arrived solo, nerves jangling, the grand hall of MoMA aglow with chandeliers and champagne flutes. He mingled on autopilot handshakes with execs, air kisses from creatives, heart elsewhere. As the ceremony kicked off, Billy's category loomed. He scanned the crowd, pulse racing, half hoping, half dreading. Then, the announcer's voice boomed, for reimagining visibility in a divided world. Billy Harlan. Applause thundered. Billy ascended the stage, lights blinding, trophy heavy in his grip. This, he began, voice steady, is for every kid kicked to the curb for loving who they love. For the anchors that hold us when storms rage. The room blurred through misted eyes. He poured out the raw, Atlanta's exile, Marcus's fire, the scars that forged him. From the shadows of the third row, a figure rose. Marcus, tucks rumpled, eyes locked fierce. He'd come. Billy's words faltered, then surged. And for the man who taught me home isn't a place. It's a person. Marcus nodded, a ghost of a smile breaking through. But as Billy stepped down, weaving through well-wishers, his gaze snagged on a face in the throng. Lorraine. She looked spectral, perched on the edge of a velvet banquette. Lorraine Harlan, or what time and grief had wrought. Gone were the sharp edges. Her once voluminous hair hung limp in a silver chignon, her gown a muted navy that swallowed her frame. Earl must have sent her, a final pilgrimage unbidden. Their eyes met across the sea of sequins and bow ties, and the world narrowed to a pinprick. Billy froze, champagne flute halfway to his lips, the Clio's weight suddenly leaden in his pocket. Lorraine rose unsteadily, weaving toward him like a moth to flame. Whispers rippled. Who's she? Old money vibe. But Billy heard nothing but the roar in his ears. Close. She was fragility incarnate, powder caking fine lines, pearls clutched like rosary beads. Billy, she breathed, voice a rasp honed by cigarettes and secrets. My God. Look at you. He wanted to bolt, to scream, but roots held him fast. Lorraine. What are you? Your father insisted. Said it was time I faced. This. Her gesture encompassed the hall, the triumph, but her eyes drilled into him, pleading. Billy's jaw clenched, old wounds pulsing. Faced what? The monster you made me? The words landed like slaps, drawing stares. Lorraine flinched, color draining. I was scared, Billy. Of the town, the church, of losing everything I'd clawed for. But losing you, that hollowed me out. Marcus materialized at Billy's elbow, hand firm on his back, a silent bulwark. You okay, B? Billy nodded, fractionally, then turned back to her. Scared? You called me abomination. Threw me into hell at 16. Lorraine's lips trembled, a tear escaping. I know. Earl showed me your work, the ads, the stories. You're building what I tore down. Proud. I'm so proud. The admission hung, raw and unadorned, cracking Billy's armor. He searched her face, hunting lies, finding only ruin. The band struck up a jazzy swing, couples swaying, but they stood islands in the tide. Why now? Billy pressed, voice cracking. Cancer's back, she whispered. Stage 4. Months. Maybe. The air thinned. Billy's knees buckled slightly, Marcus steadying him. Sympathy warred with fury, a toxic brew. Doesn't erase it, he managed. Lorraine nodded, defeated. Nothing does. But let me try. To make it right. They talked, haltingly, in an alcove off the hall, marble walls cool against Billy's palms, Lorraine's confessions spilling like rain on tin. She spoke of her own youth, a shotgun wedding at 19, a father who branded her loose for loving a Yankee boy. Hate's a mirror, Billy. I saw my shame in you. He listened, rage ebbing to sorrow, the boy in him yearning for the mother she'd never been. Marcus hovered discreet, then slipped away to fetch drinks, giving space. As midnight tolled, Lorraine pressed a small envelope into his hand. Yellowed, sealed with wax. Letters I never sent. Burn 'em if you want. She kissed his cheek, frail lips cold, then turned, vanishing into the crowd like smoke. Billy sank onto a bench, envelope burning a hole, Marcus returning with 2 scotches. Heavy night, Marcus murmured, clinking glasses. Billy exhaled, leaning into him. Yeah. But maybe healing starts here. The drive home up the West Side Highway was quiet, city lights streaking like comets. In their loft, Billy slit the envelope, pages brittle with age. Marcus read over his shoulder. Apologies scrawled in Lorraine's looping script. Snippets of pride. Saw your drawing in the paper today, son. Sky's the limit. Ghosts of what might have been. Tears came unbidden, Marcus pulling him close. You're not that kid anymore, he whispered. You're whole. Dawn painted the skyline pink when Billy's phone buzzed Earl. She collapsed after the gala. Rushed to Sloan Kettering. Asking for you. Billy's heart seized. Marcus was already shrugging on his jacket. We're going. The hospital loomed sterile under morning haze, corridors echoing with beeps and murmurs. Lorraine lay hooked to IVs, monitors charting her fade, but her eyes lit at Billy's entrance. You came. Earl gripped Billy's shoulder. Silent thanks. They sat vigil, stories traded, laughter-piercing grief. Lorraine shared photos from her phone. Faded Polaroids of Billy as a toddler, her younger self beaming. I kept them hidden. Foolish. Billy forgave in fragments, the weight lifting inch by inch. Marcus charmed her with tales from the bar, drawing a genuine smile. He's a keeper, she told Billy, squeezing his hand. Don't let go. She slipped 3 days later, peaceful in sleep, the room awash in spring sun. Billy eulogized at the Atlanta service, simple pine box under live oaks, speaking of redemption's quiet power. We all carry monsters, he said to the sparse crowd. But light finds a way. Back in New York, ashes scattered in Central Park. Billy and Marcus recommitted, vows renewed on a bench by the lake. Rings glinting. Work beckoned fiercer now. Billy's Clio win unlocked doors. A solo show of his designs at the Whitney. Collaborations with queer artists nationwide. Marcus, inspired, dove into a series on fractured families. His lens finding beauty in the broken. But peace was tentative. Theo circled again, pitching a dream team project over lunch at Lou Bernardine Lobster glistening, his foot nudging Billy's under the table. Marcus holding you back? Life's too short for anchors that drag. Billy excused himself, heart pounding, and blocked the number in the cab. Home. He found Marcus elbow-deep in prints, the loft alive with possibility. Missed you today, Marcus said, pulling him into a kiss that tasted of home. But doubt lingered, a shadow at the edges. Summer baked the city into submission, asphalt shimmering, but Billy's world cooled to ice. The Whitney exhibit opened to raves. Harlan's bold strokes redefine American identity. The Times gushed, crowds thronging the galleries, champagne flowing like the Hudson. Marcus stood proud at his side, snapping candids, but his smile strained, eyes distant. Late nights found him at the darkroom downtown, emerging hollow-eyed at dawn. Just chasing light, he'd say. But Billy smelled the lie, whiskey on his breath. Not developer. Billy confronted him after a gallery crawl, rooftop bar overlooking the glittering sprawl. Talk to me, Mark. We're drifting. Marcus leaned on the railing, city wind ruffling his curls. Your world's exploding. Mine's stalled. Feel like the vet crashing the officer's ball. Billy reached for him, urgent. Bullshit. We're a team, storm and anchor. Remember. Marcus turned, gaze stormy. Then why's Theo's name on your lips in sleep? Saw the texts you deleted. Billy's stomach plummeted. The kiss, the lunch, foolish slips, born of loneliness in Marcus's absences. It was nothing. A mistake. I chose you. Marcus laughed, bitter. Chose? Or settled? The words eviscerated, old insecurities flaring. Billy grabbed his arm. Don't do this. Not after Lorraine. Not after everything. Marcus wrenched free, voice cracking. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm the ghost you can't shake. He left that night, duffel in hand, crashing at a buddy's in Queens. Billy unraveled, voicemails pleading, texts unread, the loft a tomb of half-eaten takeout and crumpled sketches. Work suffered. A pitch meeting devolved into blank stares, his creative director pulling him aside. Get your head in the game, Harlan. Or step aside. Desperation clawed. Billy called Theo, voice steel. One drink. Clear the air. The bar in Midtown was all leather booths and low lights, Theo arriving with that predator's grin. Knew you'd come around. They talked shop campaigns, visions, Theo's hand creeping to Billy's knee. Numb. Adrift. Billy didn't pull away. One drink became shots. The cab ride a blur of heat and haze. Theo's hotel room spun, clothes shedding like skins, Billy chasing oblivion in forbidden touch. It was mechanical, soulless, a betrayal etched in regret before climax. Morning light stabbed like accusations. Billy fled, showering scalding in their loft, scrubbing until skin raw. Marcus's key turned at noon, face ashen. Heard from Jamal. You with Theo last night? Billy crumpled, confession pouring. I was lost. Stupid. But I love you. Only you. Marcus's fist clenched, knuckles white. Love? This is poison. Billy. We're rotting from inside. The blow-up was cataclysmic, porcelain shattering, voices raw-throated. Marcus accused. You're Lorraine's son after all, chasing shine, discarding the real. Billy fired back. And you're Earl, silent, suffering, letting it fester. Truth landed like uppercuts. They collapsed, bent, on the Persian rug. Marcus wept first, shoulders shaking. Can't keep fighting phantoms. Need to heal solo. Billy clutched him. Then go. But come back. Marcus did. Weeks later, after a solo trek to the southwest, canyons and stars resetting his compass. He returned with a portfolio. Photos of queer elders in Santa Fe. Resilient faces framed against red rock. Found my voice, he said, over diner pie at 3 a.m. Missed yours. Forgiveness was tentative. Therapy doubled. Sessions unpacking betrayals. Rebuilding trust brick by brick. Billy quit the firm, launching his own studio, Harlan Visions, focused on unapologetic queer narratives. Marcus joined as creative partner, their loft evolving into headquarters, whiteboards scrawled with ideas, walls papered in proofs. Fall leaves turned Central Park to fire when Billy proposed properly. Kneeling by the Bethesda fountain, ring box trembling. Storm to my anchor? Marry me. Marcus hauled him up. Kiss fierce. Hell yes. Wedding plans bloomed. Small. In the village, a rooftop affair with drag queens as officiants. Friends toasting under string lights. But shadows crept. Earl called. Voice grave. Found something in Lorraine's things. For you. The package arrived FedEx. A leather-bound journal. Lorraine's script-filling pages. Diaries from her final months. Detailing dreams of reconciliation. Sketches of Billy's face from memory. He'd be a star, one entry read. My star, if I'd let him shine. Accompanying letter from Earl. She wanted you to know, you were loved, always, in her way. Billy read aloud to Marcus by candlelight, sobs mingling with awe. Human. Huh? Messy as hell. The ceremony was magic, October crisp. Vows exchanged with the skyline as witness. In storms and calms, Marcus promised. Band slipping smooth. Anchor eternal, Billy echoed. Reception spilled into laughter. Toasts to survival. But as cake cut and dances swirled, Billy's phone lit. Unknown number. Atlanta area. He stepped aside, answering. A lawyer's voice. Mr. Harlan, regarding your stepmother's estate. There's a codicil. Naming you primary beneficiary. Billy's world tilted. The ranch. Assets, millions in real estate she'd amassed. Why me? He stammered. Her words. To right the wrong. Build what I broke. He hung up, dazed, rejoining the party with a ghost smile. Marcus noticed, pulling him to the dance floor. Spill. Billy did. Later in bed. Sheets cool. It's tainted money. Blood on the deed. Marcus traced his jaw. Or redemption's price. Your call. Winter deepened. Decisions looming. Billy visited Atlanta alone. The ranch vast and echoing. Walking rooms of his youth. His old bedroom untouched. Posters faded, he felt the pull. Sell it all. Fund shelters for queer youth. Keep a peace. Honor the complexity. Earl joined him on the porch. Pipes smoldering. She'd want you whole, son. Whatever that means. Billy nodded, peace settling like snow. Spring thawed the city, cherry blossoms rioting pink along the avenues, but Billy's crossroads sharpened to a blade. The estate's weight pressed, auctions of Lorraine's antiques yielding funds for his studio's expansion. A foundation chartered, Harlan House, safe harbors for LGBTQ plus runaways in Atlanta, New York, LA. Groundbreaking ceremonies dotted his calendar. Marcus at his side, camera chronicling Hope's architecture. You're turning poison to gold, Marcus murmured at the first sight. Hard hats crooked, dirt under nails. Yet success's glare invited wolves. A profile in Out magazine painted Billy as the exiled prince reclaiming his throne, but tabloids twisted, gay designer's stepmom legacy, fortune from bigotry? Online trolls swarmed, dredging his emancipation hearing, Lorraine's slurs resurfacing like bile. Billy armored up, interviews clipped, socials muted but cracks showed. Sleepless nights. He'd pace the loft, Marcus waking to hold him. Their echoes. Not truth. The real storm brewed from within. At a fundraiser gala, black tie, met steps, Theo cornered him in the coat check, breath hot with scotch. Congrats on the windfall. Slumming it with the vet still, I could elevate you. Billy's fist itched. He shoved past, heart slamming. Home. He unloaded to Marcus. He's a vulture. But what if doubt's right? Am I enough? Marcus's face darkened, old wounds reopening. Doubt's the betrayer here. If you believe it, we're done. The fight reignited embers, accusations of lingering glances, unspoken resentments. Marcus stormed to the darkroom, Billy to the studio, sketching furiously till dawn. Days blurred into standoff, love a battlefield. Then, a olive branch, Marcus's exhibit opening at a Bushwick warehouse, raw exposures of their journey, stolen kisses in Atlanta graveyards, wedding dawn glows, Billy's face in profile against ranch sunsets. The invite read, for the anchor. Come see us whole. Billy arrived fashionably late. Crowd buzzing artists, survivors, Earl even, flown up grizzled and grinning. Marcus spotted him across the space. Exhibit title glowing, Fractured Light, A Love in Pieces. Photos hit like gut punches. Billy mid-laugh at the Clio, vulnerability raw, Lorraine's journal pages scanned, words overlaying their embrace. The final piece, a triptych, exile's shadow, betrayal's storm, redemption's dawn, captioned, to Billy, my forever frame. Tears pricked. Billy crossed the room, pulling Marcus into shadows. This. You saw me. Marcus cupped his face, thumb brushing salt. Always have. Forgive the blindness. Billy nodded, kiss ceiling. Forgiven. Let's frame the future. Applause swelled as they emerged. Hands linked. Earl toasting gruff. To family, blood. Chosen. Mended. But climax crested unexpected. Weeks later, at Harlan House's Atlanta ribbon cutting, sun blazing on fresh brick, kids from the shelter beaming, Lorraine's ghost manifested. Not in apparition, but revelation. A hidden safe in the ranch attic, unearthed by movers. Inside, not just deeds, but tapes, VHS relics of her youth, smuggled north. Billy watched alone that night, Marcus's hand on his knee. Grainy footage of young Lorraine, defiant in bell-bottoms, marching in 70s pride parades, arm in arm with a woman whose laugh echoed freedom. She was queer, Billy whispered, stunned. Hid it all, married Earl to bury it. The betrayal inverted. Her rage at him, projection's cruel mirror. Marcus squeezed. Explains the letters, the guilt. She saw herself in you, feared you'd burn like she almost did. Catharsis flooded. Billy mourned the woman she'd caged, vowing to amplify her silent story in the Foundation's archives. Summer solstice brought their honeymoon, road trip down Route 66, Mustang convertible slicing deserts, motels neon lit. They talked everything. Dreams deferred, fears unspoken, the raw humanity of flaws. In a Grand Canyon overlook, dust devils swirling, Marcus knelt anew. Vows Part 2, through betrayals, will rebuild. Billy laughed. Wind whipped. Signed in stone. Back east. Life wove fuller. Billy's studio thrived, mentoring young designers from the streets. Marcus's book deal landed. Fractured Light, a bestseller blending photo and prose. Harlan House expanded. First residents moving in. Teens with backpacks like Billy's once. Eyes wide with possibility. Earl visited often. Gruff affection blooming. Even dating a widow from church who baked killer pecan pie. One crisp November eve, 5 years post-gala, Billy stood on their Brooklyn balcony, city a tapestry below. Marcus joined, arms encircling. Remember that kid on the Atlanta curb? Billy mused. Marcus nuzzled his neck. Yeah. He found his way. Billy turned. I soft. We found ours. In quiet moments, doubt's whisper faded. Love, humanistic and hard-won, proved the greater force. Lorraine's fortune funded wings, not walls, reminders that redemption isn't erasure, but evolution. Billy Harlan, once cast out, now cornerstone, gazed at stars wheeling over America, heart full. Storms passed, anchors held. And in the vast, flawed beauty of it all, they endured.